Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Dano, aka Daniela, and I wanted to make a video talking about this situation with this 10-year-old boy killing his toddler cousin. Um, Let me say this: if he were white, not only white, but affluent, because being affluent don't mean shit. You don't get privileges just by being affluent. You have to be affluent and white to get these type of privileges. But if this 10-year-old child was white and affluent, because not all white people get to get away with, the same bullshit that affluent white people get away with. But anyways, if he were that I described, he could easily get a slap on the wrist. But I don't think that's going to happen simply because this is a young African American child who will possibly be charged as an adult. It's probably a good chance that he will be charged as an adult, and if he does, he can possibly get about 20 to 25 years in prisons for killing his cousin. Now, me personally, I think any logical, fully, capable thinking adult would agree that this child does need some form of punishment. But as of right now, he is being charged as a minor, but they said there's a good chance that he will be charged as an adult. But he's being charged with manslaughter, which can possibly hold up. He can get somewhere from 10 to 20, 25 years for manslaughter if he's proven guilty. Me, I think throwing a charge on a child that young is ridiculous because, yes, we know that kids. I have a 10-year-old niece, and I do hold her accountable for some of her actions. But at the same time, I realize that she's still a child. She has only been alive for a decade, and she doesn't fully understand the implications of her actions. This is why I believe throwing manslaughter on this child is just too damn much. She's too young. I mean, if he is proven guilty, if he gets 10 to 25 years, that's his life gone already. His life hasn't even started yet. This kid is in the fifth grade. I don't know what grade he is, but being 10 years old, you're most likely in the fifth grade. In the fifth grade, being charged with manslaughter. His life is basically over before it even starts. And like I said, if he were a white, affluent child, he would get a slap in the wrist. He probably wouldn't be charged for manslaughter. He'd be probably charged for something much less, like some type of assault or aggravated assault, something like that. I really think it's sad that this young girl had to die. You know, like I said before, I do believe that the child should get some form of punishment, but definitely not manslaughter. Because look at Ethan Couch. Some may argue, okay, well, he didn't intentionally kill other people that he killed, but getting in that car, being 16 years old, you're down there an adult at 16. 2 more years, he'd be considered adult, and he would be charged as an adult in this society that we live in. So he's 2 years away from being an adult. I can tell you this: at 16, yeah, you're not fully thinking, but you are way more responsible for your actions than a 10-year-old is. You know what you're doing because when I was a child, I knew not to drink and drive. I knew not to even be fucking drinking at the age of 16. I knew that that was wrong. So you can't tell me that he did not know that drinking was wrong and then also drinking and driving was wrong. That's complete fucking bullshit. So he got in that car knowing that he could possibly harm somebody. But he didn't give a fuck. Why? Because he was a spoiled little brat that got away with every fucking thing. So I believe that he was responsible for those people's deaths. Now, I'm not saying that Ethan Couch deserved like life in prison or anything like that, but he definitely should have got worse than what was it? I think it was like a couple years in probation. I think he had like 10 years of probation, something like that. And if he were to violate his probation in any form, they would throw. I think they said it would throw like 10 years on him, minimum 10 years on him. Well, he did that. He drunk when he was under probation, and while he was at his I can't think of the name of the place right now when he rehab when he was doing rehab, because basically the place he was staying at was like a luxurious, like fucking getaway rehab place. You know, one of those places in Hollywood. Um, and he was busted drinking alcohol on like some video or a picture or something like that. So what he did, he got scared. He called his mom. His mom decided to help him flee to Mexico. They fled to Mexico, and now, after being caught when he was supposed to do 10 years in prison, now he's only doing 2 years in prison. His mother is facing 10 years in prison, but there's a good chance that that's going to get knocked down to a couple of years, or maybe even probation or something like that, simply because of them being rich and them being white. Because trust me, this if they were rich black people, they wouldn't have got the same treatment at all. That affluent shit only exists with fucking white people. Look at Brock Turner. This guy fucking molest a damn child. I mean, but it doesn't. Look, to tell the truth, you don't even always have to be affluent for you to get away with bullshit. Mainly just being white, but affluent is the cherry on the fucking top. Because look at the guy. Okay, we talked about Brock Turner, how he got away with raping a woman because he's affluent and he's rich. They didn't want to hit him up with any crazy, even though he was charged for like rape or something like that. They didn't want to give him any type of crazy convictions, for rape, because it will blemish his swimming record. It will blemish his career, and they were giving all these type of bullshit excuses why they didn't want to convict him and give him all these fucking years and shit, which is complete bullshit. But anyways, there was this guy who raped some kids or a girl that he was supposed to be babysitting. He only got a fucking slap on the wrist. I think he had to register as a sex offender, just like Brock Turner, and then he only got like a couple months of jail or probation. But I believe Brock Turner got like 6 months in jail or something like that, and that's basically it. I think that this will be a sponge from his record too. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But I know that he does have to register as a sex offender. So you see, all this shit that these white people get away with, grown fucking people. Ethan Couch, when he ran and fled to Mexico, he was 18 years old, a grown fucking man who killed 3 people and permanently injured one of his friends. These motherfuckers get away with fucking murder. They get away with rape, murder, all this stuff. And this 10-year-old child whose brain is not fully developed is being charged with manslaughter and could possibly do up to 25 years in prison if he gets charged as an adult. This is the type of society we live in. I'm not surprised at all. I mean, with them arresting, what was it, a 8-year-old black child, a little black girl, a couple years back, with them doing shit like that, and just everything that they do, killing unarmed black people on the street, I am not surprised, at all. And to me, I think it's so funny because, white people and all their little fucking peons and drones love saying all lives matter. But it's like, well, the only times when y'all like to say that all lives matter is when we're saying Black Lives Matter. And when people are saying Black Lives Matter, they're not simply saying that only Black Lives Matter, but Black Lives Matter too. So when black people say Black Lives Matter, then that's when you want to say all lives matter. But then when shit like, when there's white on white violence, where the fuck is the all lives matter now? You know what I'm saying? Whenever there's fucking white on white violence, it's all lives matter just goes straight out the fucking window. You don't ever hear them claiming that shit. But whenever black people are saying anything about Black Lives Matter, then that's when they want to say all lives matter, which is complete bullshit. But this is just the racist, hypocritical society that we live in, where shit is not equal at all. We are not citizens of this country. Give a shout out to CDF, a conspiracy dude, how he quoted, I believe it was Dred Scott, how that case proves that blacks are not, citizens of the United States, but we are citizens of the United States government. So we're not going to have the same type of rights. We're not going to receive the same type of rights as fucking white people, but we will be we will receive the full extent of law as a fucking white person when we commit a crime. You know, we're property of the state. We're property of the fucking of the federal government, really. You know, this is why I hate this fucking society, period. And I tell you, I want what I want to do one day. You know, some people may laugh and think it's ridiculous, but I seriously want to live off the grid. That's going to be my plan. I know they may probably end up trying to kill me or something like that, because a lot of people who live off the grid, they're always being intimidated by the United States government. You know, mainly by the federal government. They're, you know, harassed all the time. They get their shit closed down, and it's just, I mean, it's ridiculous, man. I remember I read this story about a month ago how this woman, she was being pursued by the federal government because she was living off the grid. She had her own pond to collect rainwater, so that she wouldn't have to use, you know, the city water. She had solar panels on her house, and she grew her own food. She was hit with like 10 different charges, federal offenses, for not being hooked up to the grid. Like, that's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But I tell you, if I do live off the grid, it's not going to be here in the United States, period. Because this is just not the right place to do it, really. The government's reach here is too much. Too much. But anyways, that's basically all I have to say is, you know, look at this. It just shows you how fucked up this country is. Like I said before, I don't think that the boy should get away with murder, because I can tell you this, kids, they do understand the concept of murder when they are kids. Because remember, I think it was like a couple years ago, no, maybe it was this year, when the little white girls had planned to murder another white girl. Like, they had literally planned the shit out. That's premeditated fucking murder. But just like those little girls, and I think these girls are like 5 years old, but just like those little girls, these kids don't understand the implications of their actions. They don't understand the end result and where it's going to land them. Shit, hell, a lot of adults don't, because of their fucking mentality and the way they think. So just imagine these kids. These kids, yeah, they know what murder is, but they don't understand where it's going to lead them to, how it's going to affect them for the rest of their lives. They don't think about that. So I definitely don't think that this child should be facing manslaughter. They should definitely take him away from his parents and put him somewhere where he can get real help. Or they may not even have to take him away from his parents. They can keep him with his parents, but make sure that he gets the help he needs. You know, throw him into rehab. You know, because he does need some rehabilitation. I mean, it's obvious. But, yeah, that's basically all I have to say. You know, sorry to the family who lost their child. That's very sad. That, you know, that they had to lose their little beautiful 2-year-old daughter. But it's also sad at the same time, because somebody's losing their son. You know, and their cousins too. So the family is losing out twice. You know, they lost a daughter, and now they're losing a nephew, and that's sad. You know, I feel bad for the boy, because his life hasn't even started yet. This kid is in the 5th grade. He has his whole life in front of him, and now it's ruined. And I'm not taking responsibility off of him, like I said, but I believe giving him manslaughter and then most likely charging him as an adult is too much. I mean, I remember watching this documentary about children being imprisoned, and there was this one child who was like, I think he was like 14 years old when he was arrested for, robbery, because there was this like 20-year-old dude who basically forced him to go and rob this house with him. And as a result of them going up there and robbing this house, they ended up killing somebody. They ended up shooting and killing somebody. And this 14-year-old child was charged as an adult, and he did, I believe, 20-something years in prison. He was trying to get out early because he was saying that, hey, this grown dude forced me to do that. If I didn't do it, he said he was going to kill me. They didn't give no fucks at all. They didn't give no cares in the world about this child. So he spent about like 20 some years in prison because this dude is a little bit older than me. I think he's like 29 or something like that. And I believe that he has been released within the past couple of years, or he's going to be released very soon. No, actually, I think he gets released in 2020. So that's about 4 years, 4 years from now, because he got arrested like I believe like the early 2000s, like 2002 or something like that. I can't remember. But yeah, it's sad. But this is the type of double standard and hypocrisy we have here in this country. You know, some people may say, well, oh, that's just because their local laws are different. No, it shouldn't be like that. How can, you know, one guy molest a girl while she's sleeping, rape her while she's sleeping, and get 15 years in prison? I'm talking about the black football player. I forget what college he played for. But he got 15 years in prison for raping an unconscious girl, while this white guy rapes a girl, does the exact same thing, and only gets 6 months in jail. Tell me that this country is not full of hypocrisy and double standards. You know, what about the girls that were raped? What about the girl that Brock raped? What about her life? What about this all lives matter with her? Anyways, that's all I have to say. Peace.